Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show here in conjunction with the WZWA Network. I am the host with the most, Karlifornia in Fury, and I'm very, very excited here tonight, flying solo, and I'm going to have a good time with my guest here tonight, former WWF Tag Team Champion, member of the Harlem Knights, and of course, the very famous Men on a Mission. He is the one and only Sir Mo.
Hey man, what's going on?
How you going, brother? How you doing today?
Hey man, I'm doing really good this morning. Just got up, gonna have some hot cakes. We're gonna shoot the breeze with you.
Sounds good. I'm
So
excited.
how's the pandemic there?
Oh man, we're flying high. We're doing real good over here.
Okay.
No problems for 6 months in my state. How about you? How's your state doing?
My state is what they consider a red zone. Numbers are high, deaths are high. Actually, in my state, Texas, here, we're probably one of the highest in the country.
Right.
Deaths are higher too, so.
What kind of
And we're just trying to get through it, man.
Is there a lot of restrictions?
No, well, of course you have to wear the mask when you're out in public, social distancing, no large group gatherings, restaurants and everything are open, bars and everything are open, but, of course, limited number of people, 10%, 25%. So the biggest problem is people getting in big groups and not wearing masks.
Yeah. It's kind of help themselves.
Like going to presidential rallies.
I know, right? It just seemed crazy to me that people were still going out in droves.
Yeah. But, some of those people are now starting to get sick. So, maybe that'll be a wake-up call. I pray it is, but if not, all we can do is pray for people.
Absolutely, man. It's been a tough year, but let's forget about the bad stuff and let's focus on the good. And the good is your career, my friend. I have spent all evening watching Harlem Knights stuff, Men on a Mission stuff. I'm excited. I'm real pumped up for this. And the first question, Mo, that I usually ask everybody on the show is how you first became a wrestling fan.
I don't know. I'd just be as a kid, I'd be walking the living room and you see it on television, but as a kid you don't comprehend what you're watching. But there was one time I walked in the living room and I saw this wrestler. He had on like the little Mexican sombrero and he had a little puppy in his arms. And he was eating a hot dog, and he was feeding the hot dog to the puppy, and it kind of caught my eye. And lo and behold, it was the Mighty Igor. It was Mighty Igor, and he was working in a program at the time with Dick the Bulldog Brower.
Wow, two names that I don't know.
Yeah, so I mean, those guys were back in the mid to late 70s, early 80s. And that was my first experience with wrestling, was looking on TV and catching Mighty Eagle feeding the dog. And so that kind of caught my attention. And then every time I would see it on, I'd just sit there and watch it. And I started watching Dusty Rhodes and Rufus R. Freight Train Jones and Thunderbolt Patterson and Sweet Brown Sugar. But one of my favorite wrestlers was Sweet Ebony Diamond, which was Rocky Johnson.
Ah, cool.
It was the first time. It was the first time I saw, somebody with black wrestler, look good, had the mask, do the Ali shuffle, very athletic, an amazing drop kick, and I thought, man, that guy was like really cool, even though he had the mask and he was mysterious. I thought it was really cool. So that really made me start watching it. And then it became like my uncle, he would have us split wood on the weekends when wrestling came to town.
Yeah.
And it was like, man, we'd like to go see it live because we'd watch it on television, but to go see it live was like, I was poor. I grew up with nothing. So we literally would have to drive 40 miles to the next major town to see wrestling. But we'd work all that day splitting wood and hauling hay just to make enough money to get into wrestling that night. And we'd make the drive, and we'd go to the events, and we would always sit, a $5 ticket would be in the nosebleed of the building, but it was just, the atmosphere was like different, it was like, wow, man. I never thought at that time that I wanted to be a professional wrestler, but that's how I was introduced to it.
Right. So how old would have you been around this time?
So I was, I was playing Little League Baseball, so I'd say it was around age 12, 13, when we used to do that. So again, like I said, at that time, it was not one of those, oh man, when I grew up, I'm gonna be a wrestler, type of thing. It just really just kind of happened.
Right.
It just kind of happened. Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, the years go by, you're a teenager, you leave school. What did you do aside from wrestling? What was the first thing you did when you left school?
Okay, so graduated high school in 1985, and I spent the first semester after high school, I went to college. I went to an HBCU and tried to walk on the basketball team. Didn't make the team. Really didn't like the school, so I left school and I went to the military. And I got out of the military in 1988. I came home and I was just bored.
Right.
I wasn't doing it. I was just working a job, I wasn't doing anything exciting. I wanted to be a part of something, big. Yeah. And then I thought one day, I said, everybody knows Ric Flair. Everybody knows Hulk Hogan. Yeah. Maybe I'll try wrestling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And fortunately for me, the same day I had this thought, that weekend, there was a local indie show in my town, and I had never seen indie wrestling up close like that, And went to the show, and after the show, was talking to some of the wrestlers and inquired about how do you get into this, and Gene, and found out that he had a school nearby where I lived. It was probably about 15 minutes from where I lived. I never knew that there was a wrestling school. And I talked to him, and he said, hey, kid, he said, bring me $300. Meet me at this address on Saturday, and we'll give you a tryout. And if you survive the tryout, then we'll train you. Okay. And I'm like, okay. Okay. The guy sounded like he's the guy at the carnival trying to talk you into taking a gun with the bad sight and shooting these ducks, to try to win a prize, So
right.
I thought, okay, I had a pretty decent job at the time, so the money part wasn't a big deal. But I remember showing up, and it was this huge field, probably the size of 3 football fields. It was out in the middle of the woods somewhere. And I gave him money, and he says, okay. He said, just start running around this field. He said, and I'll tell you when to stop. Okay. And I'm thinking, okay, how many times am I going to run around this field? I didn't ask that question, but I'm thinking that. Yeah. And so I start running the field, man. I probably made it around the field about 13 times. I'm still in pretty good shape because I just got out of the military. Right. So I'm still in physical shape. I'm still in really good shape. And so I run around the field, and he says, stop. He says, okay, Now stand right here, and I want you to do these Hindu squats.
Oh, shit.
You know, do the Hindu squat.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, how many you want me to do? He said about 2,000. I'm
Oh,
thinking, you know, I just ran around this field, and now he wants me to do 2,000 Hindu squats. So I began doing the squats. About 400, he made me stop. He said, "That's okay, kid." He said, "That's enough. That's enough." He said, "Can you?" He said, "Can you do push-ups?" And I'm like, you know, I just got out of the military again. So push-ups is part of PT. I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, how many can you do?" And I'm thinking, I could do a lot, but I'm not going to tell him that.
mhm.
I said, I could do about 15. He goes, "Okay, 15's good." He says, "Do one right here." He says, "Run down there, touch that pole, run back, do 2, run down there, touch that pole, all the way up to 15. And I did it. And right at that last one, I had a complete muscle failure, you know. And my buddies had to come pick me up and put me in the car and take me home. But as I was leaving, he said, "You passed, kid." He said, "You did real good." He said, "You didn't quit." He said, "So I'll train you. It's going to cost you." He said, "When you come to practice," gave me a date. He said, "Bring the first 5, and it'll be $500 a month for 6 months,
Okay.
on top of the $300 that I paid for the tryout."
Right.
So that's kind of how I got started. And then, like 2 weeks after I started training, Mabel shows up at the school, and he's got to go through the same tryout. And I'm telling him, I said, "Listen, whatever you do, just don't stop." I said, "If you got to walk. That's fine. It's okay. Just don't stop." So I started out running with him, and I got through half of the second lap, and I was like, "Okay, you got this, right?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm thinking, I'm not going to do all this damn running. Hell no. You know, I did mine. You're going to do yours. And so he got through it. And he happened to live like 4 hours away. And I had a 3-bedroom house and at the time. So I invited him to move up near me. And we became partners, and we lived together. We tagged. We traveled together for the first. This was the summer 1990, and I think I moved out of the house that we were living in together in Tennessee in 95 because I broke my leg. I remember that, 1990. So we lived in the same house for 5 years.
Wow.
You know, so that's how we were able to work out together, travel together, because we lived in the same house. And then right after Nelson and I turned heel, that weekend I went home and we were training a young man in the backyard, and I broke my leg.
Right.
And I had to move back home to
Okay.
North Carolina, from Tennessee to North Carolina, to heal, because the break was so severe that I thought my wrestling career was over.
Shit.
I had to have like an 8-hour surgery, had a steel rod and 9 screws put in my ankle. And I went home to North Carolina because we thought it was over, but it wasn't.
Damn. I was wondering, did you do any training with Ole and Gene Anderson and Ivan Koloff?
Okay, so in the midst of training with Gene got sick. Gene passed away.
Okay.
And just probably another 10 miles up the road, Ivan Koloff and Bobby Fulton of the Fantastics
Okay.
had a wrestling school. So we would go up there and we would train with their students, Ivan Koloff students, and Bobby Fulton. And then not so far up the road was George South and the Italian Stallion.
Okay.
They had a school, and then they had a promotion that ran shows every week every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So we would train with their guys, and we would work their shows from 90 from early 91 to 93 when we left and went to the USWA in Memphis, Tennessee. So we trained under George the Stallion, Gene Anderson, Koloff, Manny Fernandez, the Raging Bull, and Bobby Fulton. These were all different people that we literally got instruction from.
Right. Wow. What a cast of people to learn from in your early days. And I didn't realize that you had met Mabel so early on in your journey in wrestling. I wanted to ask you about if you have a memory of what your first in-ring wrestling match was like.
My first match was so Gene Anderson was managing this local guy named Rocky who looked just like his brother Ole. So they called him Rocky Anderson. His name was Alan Mills, and he was one of my trainers. So my first match was against him. And it was fun, but it was the most horrifying thing I ever done in my life. You know, to come in front of those people and you try to remember everything that you got to do in that ring.
Yeah.
First time. So it was horrifying, but I had some good trainers, and I was, of course, I was in shape and I was an athletic person. So I didn't do too bad. In fact, when we finish this interview, I'm gonna send you a link to that very first match. Actually,
cool.
It was my second match. It was my second match against Jay Eagle, who was a protege of Wahoo McDaniel.
Right,
so I'll send you a link to that when we finish this thing. But it didn't go bad. It was kind of scary, you know what I mean? But I kind of felt like I belonged there. You know what I mean? I kind of felt like I belonged there. So,
oh, that's cool. One thing I was interested in hearing about is what it was like traveling with Nelson. Big man, as tall as he is wide.
Okay.
You two fitting into. I mean, you're a big man too, but next to him, you don't look
right
so big. But you two in a car, that's that's an interesting situation.
Well, okay, so before we made it to WWF, we rode around in a Mitsubishi Galant, and it was like a Volkswagen Beetle.
Oh gosh.
So Nelson's window would always be down on the passenger side, and this arm would be out the window, and then this arm would be wrapped around my head on the driver's seat like this. And I'm trying to drive. He's got his big arm on my head. And I'm trying to drive this little car, and that's what we drove in, this really little car, man, for about 3 years, man. It was good on gas. Thank God it was good on gas, but there was like zero room. And then, you know, just imagine there were times when there wasn't enough money for hotel rooms or whatever. So we'd have to sleep in the car, and there was no letting my seat back. You know, it was sleeping on the steering wheel. Like it was horrible, man. It was horrible, but we made the best. We used to just laugh about just dumb shit, man, because, you know, we would think, man, is this what we really want to do? And then we'd look at each other and be like, hell yeah. So we got through it.
Just you two taking on the world. That's great.
Yeah, you know, and Nelson was a big guy, man. You know, 6'10", about 560 pounds, legit. And man, he had the heart of a teddy bear, man. He had the heart of a teddy bear. Such a misunderstood person, because he had his own mind, he had his own way of thinking about stuff, and a lot of people didn't know him and didn't understand him.
I understand.
And he got a bad reputation. He got a bad reputation, and all it wasn't a bad person. He was just young.
Yeah.
Here's a guy, 20, 21 years old, on the road, wrestling guys like Bam Bam Bigelow, Undertaker, these guys, and all he's been taught was wrestling moves, technique. You know what I mean? You're learning psychology and stuff on the fly. Nobody ever said, hey, guys, if by chance, you accidentally stiff somebody or somebody gets hurt, if by chance this happens, make sure, no matter what, you let that person know that it was a legit accident,
right,
that you're indeed seriously sorry, and you try to make sure that you take care of that person until they're able to get back, to normal or whatever.
Yeah.
Nobody ever taught that. That was never part of wrestling training. Wrestling training is fall on your back, flip here, and jump there, and it's never okay. So you're gonna get in the dressing room, and guys are gonna shit in your bag.
Oh God.
And when that happens, this is how you handle that situation. You don't blow up. You don't get mad. You don't throw a temper tantrum and start ranting and raving. You just act like it never happened and take your bag and you leave and you clean out your bag when you get away from the building and act like it never happened. Because if you act like it and you never put it over, they'll stop. They won't do it.
Of course.
Because they'll realize it's a waste.
Then they'll want to keep doing it.
Exactly. Nobody taught us that. In wrestling school, in the 80s, 90s, they didn't teach you that. We teach it now. In my school, we teach all of that stuff, but nobody taught us that.
Right.
No, nobody taught us that. Imagine I'm your trainer, right? And I say to you, you got a job at WWF. When you get there, mind your own business, stay in your own corner, stay out of everybody's way. Do your job, get dressed, go home.
Right.
Sounds simple enough?
Definitely.
Okay. So Nelson and I have a contract. Those are what we were told to do. So we come in, speak to everybody, find out who we're working, go work, come back, thank them, get dressed, speak to everybody, out the door. Did that for the first 3 weeks.
Yeah.
On the 4th week, we show up at the building. Vince pulls us into the office and fires us.
What?
We got fired.
What for?
Everybody in the locker room was afraid of us because we don't associate with anybody. We don't communicate with anybody, and everybody's like, well, those guys don't talk. We don't know nothing about them. We're afraid of them, and we're not going to work them.
Jesus.
So we get fired. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Something that simple. Anyway, so Oscar, in his infinite wisdom, says to Vince, well, why not, since we're having company meeting, it's a TV taping, why not we introduce ourselves again to everybody and then just, explain. So right after that, every night we'd go hang out with the boys, drinking and whatever.
Yeah.
Being cool with the boys, and everything was smooth sailing after that.
Very cool, man.
You see, they didn't teach us that in wrestling school, bro. You know what I mean? It's these little things.
Of course. I wanted to scale back a little bit and talk about your initial run as the Harlem Knights in Pro Wrestling Federation in the Carolinas. Tell me a little bit about that experience.
So back in the day, the only way you know about wrestling shows were the Pro Wrestling Illustrated magazine.
Yeah.
You'd go through the magazine and they have like a list of the promotions and where they were and the phone numbers to call. So we found the PWF and we found out that they were having a show in Kings Mountain, North Carolina.
Right.
So we show up at the show. We show up early, and they're setting up the ring. And Nelson and I go in, and we ask to speak to the promoter. This is the Italian Stallion and George South. So we meet Stallion, walk in, we meet him, we give him our promo pictures. We say we're looking for work. And Stallion's like, okay, guys, sure, we'll give you a tryout. So what you got to do is you got to go back out that door right there, go all the way back around to the front of the building, and about 6:30, they'll open the doors to start letting people in. You got to buy you a ticket, and then you come on in. And so Italian Stallion made us leave the building, stand outside in the hot sun for about an hour, buy a ticket before he would allow us in the building. And from that night, that was like the summer of 91 until February of 93. We worked every show that they had. You know,
Right on.
and George South helped us. George South helped us put together our tag team stuff. Combinations, drop toe hold, leg drop, double elbow drop, finisher. You know, all of those things George South helped us with. And it was George South that told us to go to Memphis, Tennessee.
That's where you
We
had
would always say,
WZWA.
he says, if you guys ever want to make it, go to Memphis, brother. Go to Memphis. That's where it all starts, in Memphis. And we were working Ghent, West Virginia at a firehouse one weekend. It was like 3 feet of snow on the ground. And we had never asked for money. Now, we worked for these guys for like 2 years. We had never asked for money. And we asked for money that night, and Stallion gave us $5. We're like 8 hours away from home. He gave us $5. We're like, he don't appreciate, what we've done for them as far as the growth of the company. And so we left there that Saturday. We came home the next Thursday. We drove to Memphis, Tennessee, and slept in the car. Saturday morning, woke up, went inside TV5, met Jeff Jarrett and his daddy Jerry. Luckily for us, the Harris twins, Ron and Don Harris, or Jacob and Eli Blue, whatever you want to call them, had quit the week before, and they needed another big tag team to work the Moondogs. And so when they saw us come in the door, they said, well, we'll give you guys a tryout. And so the next night, Jonesboro, Arkansas, Mr. Jarrett gave us a tryout, and he came in there and he hired us.
Cool. I saw some.
So the very next week we worked a 6-man squash match, and then we worked the program. Me, Nelson, and Brian Christopher, Grandmaster Sexay, worked against Jerry Lawler, Jeff Jarrett, and Danny Davis.
Right.
So that was our first program at USWA against Jeff, Jerry, and Danny Davis.
Wow, so thrown right in there with the top names of the territory.
Yeah. So it started out. That's that's where it started, and they went from Jeff and Jerry and Danny to Jeff Jarrett and Boss Man.
Yep.
Because Lawler went to Raw, so it went from Jeff Jarrett to Boss Man, and then from Boss Man to Jeff to the Moondogs, and then one of the Moondogs left, and they didn't have another tag team for us to work, and so Mr. Jarrett came to us one night. I wanted to say we were in Evansville, Indiana, and he said, "Hey guys, I'm gonna need you guys to take the summer off and come back in the fall."
Right.
And we had nowhere to go because we had moved from North Carolina to Tennessee, and we were staying in a hotel. So we didn't have nowhere to go. And Brian Christopher knew that. And so when Mr. Jarrett told us that, Brian Christopher was like, "Nah, man, you can't do that to these guys, man. They don't have anywhere to go. They moved here." And Mr. Jarrett was like, "Oh, well, I didn't know you guys had moved here." He says, "Tell you what, call me on Monday, and I'll have you a tryout with WWF or a job with WCW."
Okay.
It's just like that.
Wow.
A tryout or a job. And Monday morning, we woke up, phone ringing, and it was J.J. Dillon with WWF, and we get on the phone, and we're thinking of some kind of rib or something, but he's going to try out, whatever, and we flew up Tuesday. We did Portland, Maine, and Worcester, Massachusetts. Tried out, and then the week later, they flew us back to New York. Limo picked us up at the airport, drove us up to Stanford, sat down in the boardroom. Vince McMahon was handed a contract, told us what our team name was going to be. This is when we met Oscar.
Right.
We met Oscar at the same time. We didn't know who he was. And they gave us a contract, and they said, "Look it over, sign it. As soon as you look it over, sign it. You guys will receive your paycheck every Friday until we're ready for you guys to go on the road. In the meantime, just go back and work at USWA until, that was." We went to USWA for February of '93. We signed the contract with Vince in April of '93, and we didn't go to work until September.
All right.
So that summer we worked at USWA and some indie stuff until September, and then that's when we went to work full time.
Right. So what did you think when they finally pitched to you this idea of being men on a mission and being baby faces as opposed to your heel run as the Harlem Knights and as your rapping manager? What did you think?
Okay, so the first night on the tryout, they said, "We want you guys to be baby faces." No. The first night on the tryout, they said, "Be yourselves. We're gonna play some Run DMC.
Okay.
Y'all just go out, and do your thing." So the first night we went out, we did our thing to the rap music. We come to the back. Everybody was like, "Wow, okay, cool." Next night, they said, "We're going to do the same thing, rap music, but this time we want you guys to be happy. We want you to be baby faces. Just go out and have fun." So, we're rocking and all that stuff the second night. We come back. J.J. Dillon pulls us to the side. We're going to fly you guys up next week. We're going to have a conversation. So when we get to the airport there in New York, Oscar's already in the limousine. So when we get in the limousine, we meet Oscar, and they tell us, "Hey, this guy right here is going to be your manager." And me and Nelson looking around like, who the freak is this guy? You know what I mean? Like, who is this dude? We don't know this dude, And we kind of particular too, man. Like, we don't know this guy. We don't know what kind of baggage he brings with him or whatever, And so we get to the office and we sit down at the desk and we all introduce ourselves, and then we find out that Vince had met Oscar earlier that year at WrestleMania 9 in Las Vegas. in the elevator, and Oscar was a freestyle rapper and did a freestyle rap, and that's how they found him. So we're sitting there at the table, and Vince comes in, sits down, introduces himself. He says, "All right, guys," says, "we thought this over. We pitched a few things, and this is what I came up with." He said, "You three guys are going to be brothers from Harlem, New York, raised in the ghetto, and wrestling was y'all's way out. You two guys, you're going to be called Oscar, you're going to be called Mo, and you're going to be called Mabel. M-O-M, Mo, Oscar, Mabel, men on a mission. That's what we're going to call you."
Yeah.
And Nelson folds his arms like this, leans back into the chair. He goes, "Come on, man. I finally get my big break, and you're going to give me a girl's name?" And Vince goes, "Ha, ha, 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 ha." He said, "All right, big guy." He says, "You ever heard that song, A Girl Called Sue, A Boy Called Sue?"
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
And Nelson said, "Yeah." I don't know if he'd heard that song or not, but Nelson said, "Yeah." He said, "That's the point." He says, "When the world is picking on your two little brothers right here, and then they say, 'Mabel, help us,' and the people that are picking on them say, 'Mabel, what's the girl's name?' And then they look around, they're like, 'You're Mabel.'"
Yeah.
See the point?
Yeah.
So he went with it. He wasn't happy with it in the beginning, but after Vince explained it, he kind of got with it. So it was all good, man. I didn't mind the name change. I didn't really care. I looked at it from a standpoint of, thanks for the opportunity.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So I didn't even care about the money part of it. It was just thanks for a shot.
You must have been excited to call back home and let everyone know what was going on.
No, you know what? I didn't call at all. We did the vignettes, the weekly vignettes.
Yeah.
We did those vignettes. I didn't call at all. I just let people see the vignettes.
Right, cool.
Instead of me calling and saying, "Hey, check this out. This is going on," I would just call and say, "Hey, watch television."
Cool.
And I let them see the vignettes. So and there was several people that we tried to talk to come along with us, and they was like, "Nah, man, we're not gonna do that fake shit. We're not." I was like, "Okay," but then when they saw the vignettes, they're like, "Oh man, y'all ran off and left us."
No, right.
We didn't leave you. We invited you to come along. You just wouldn't come.
The next part I wanted to bring up was a very interesting situation. I'm sure you spoke about it many times before, but a little bit into your run as a tag team, you're working a live event over in England, and lo and behold, at the end of the match, you two end up walking out as the tag team champions. I'd like you to clear up any sort of misconceptions on what happened that night and let the world know how Men on a Mission became the WWF World Tag Team Champions.
You want the true story, or do you want the rumors?
I want the true story.
Okay. So, rumor has it that somewhere near the end of the match, Mabel tripped and fell and landed on Jacques Rougeau and couldn't get up, and the ref counted 3, and Men on a Mission won the tag belts.
Right.
That's the rumors. The fact of the matter is that Men on a Mission were supposed to win those tag team belts, and we didn't know how long we were going to keep them or whatever, but it was not by accident.
Really?
It was not by accident, as the rumors would have it. It definitely was not by accident, and that wasn't the only time that we were supposed to win those tag belts. I remember having a number of conversations with J.J. Dillon about the direction of Men on a Mission. And sometimes when you have a team member that's injury prone, it's kind of hard to do something for the team because, when an injury happens, it changes the whole story of where they want to go with the team. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
So you lose opportunities because of different things, injuries, suspensions, things of that nature. You lose a lot of opportunities. So we lost a lot of opportunities because of those things.
I see. Because I was reading the Wikipedia article and it said that it was an accident. So I'm going to go and edit the Wikipedia article because I have an account on there and state that you dispute this and that you guys were meant to win the titles that day in England. What was the reason behind dropping them a few days later? Was that always the plan?
That was the plan. That was the plan. Like I'm an honest person.
Yes.
So I'll put it to you like this.
Okay.
I'll put it to you like this. In the United States right now, in a lot of states in the United States, the use of marijuana is legal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Through the 90s, there was nowhere in the United States where marijuana use was legal.
Yeah.
Okay? Vince McMahon had a drug policy. If you failed a drug test for marijuana use, the first time it was a fine of $1,000.
Right.
And each time after that, it went 1,000, 3,000, 6,000, 9, so on and so forth, until you got to a threshold, and then it became suspension.
Yeah.
8 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, what have you, right?
Yeah.
So if JJ comes to you and says, "Hey guys, I'd love to do something. We'd love to do something with you, but we can't do something with you if a member of this team is going to get suspended for 6 to 8 weeks."
Right.
So, I don't drink. I don't smoke. I drink tea. I drink Mountain Dew. I drink Pepsi. Back then, to hang out with the boys, hang out with Undertaker, you had to drink Jack Daniels or whatever. But a lot of the people on the roster smoke weed, marijuana, what have you. I wasn't one of those.
Yeah.
That's not to say that 1/3 of the Men on a Mission posse didn't like to smoke marijuana. Right. And because 1/3 like to smoke marijuana, sometimes you run into that situation where you're either going to get fined or you're going to find yourself getting suspended.
Yeah.
Now, if you find yourself getting suspended, there's not a whole lot that can be done with you, right?
Right.
Prime example, Shawn Michaels got suspended for failing a drug test, right?
Yep.
When Shawn Michaels got suspended for failing a drug test, the Intercontinental Belt went on Scott Hall.
Yep.
Shawn Michaels comes back, right?
Yep.
He and Scott Hall wrestle at WrestleMania for the Intercontinental Belt in a ladder match.
Yep.
Okay?
Okay.
So that probably would have never happened had Shawn Michaels not gotten suspended.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Right. So unfortunately, in the case where it comes to tag teams or what have you, if one person gets suspended, a single individual is not going to carry a tag team belt.
Yeah.
So therefore, if you have a habit of smoking and getting fined or suspended, it's going to be very difficult to say, okay, we're going to do a program with you guys against these guys, but we can't put the belts on you because 1/3 of your members likes to smoke.
Yeah.
And you know the outcome of smoking. Right?
Yeah.
So in a nutshell, that stunted a push.
Yeah.
That kind of put the brakes on a lot of stuff.
Right.
I'm not blaming. I'm not. In other words, I'm not throwing stones because it was everybody was doing it. Everybody back then was smoking weed or doing something, had some kind of, problem.
Yeah, and that's what led to them making you guys drop the belts back pretty soon afterward. Okay.
That's the answer.
Right.
That's truthfulness of it. I try not. I that's the first time ever I really just told that story because I don't want anybody to try to make it seem like I'm trying to bury any member of my team. But the truth has got to come out, man, because everybody thinks that we were just some big, fat, clumsy guys that danced around in purple outfits and had no talent, and that's not true. That's 100% not true. You know what I mean? Everybody tries to make it seem like we had no talent, no ability, no drawing power, and that's not true. And it's even worse when you look at the King Mabel run. They make it sound even worse, and
I saw your tag team debut. I watched that earlier tonight, and I was like, "Wow, these guys are athletic for their size." And see Mabel doing his spin kick and his drop kick, and you coming off the rope. I'm like, these guys are fantastic.
And the part that people outside of the circle don't get, they don't see is all of the backstage politics that prevent you from being as good as you can be.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? I remember Vince McMahon saying, look, guys, the fans decide how big you become, how big of stars you become. The fans decide. He said, we can't decide that. The fans decide. And in the beginning, I believe that, right?
Yeah.
I truly believe that. But here's what you can look at. Here's what you look at, right? Go back and look at those videos and just watch the fan reaction whenever we come out, right? They were there. Look at the fans' reaction. If you can find the video, look at the fans' reaction when we first came out and performed in Manhattan at the Manhattan Center on Monday Night Raw.
Okay.
Look at the reaction of the people in that building. Now, you take that reaction of the people in that building, and from there, you put pyro, you put more videos, you put a crow, you put a hearse, you put the police, you put a jail cell, you put all kinds of crazy stuff behind that, and tell me we couldn't have been big stars.
Absolutely.
Politics aside, politics aside, we couldn't be big stars. And that King Mabel run could have been like, business was bad because Vince was going through the steroid trial and all that stuff. Business was bad. I get that. but Nelson still legitimately could have been WWE champion.
Absolutely. And we will get to that. We will get to that. We're very close, but I don't want to get there yet. I want to talk about WrestleMania 10 against the Quebecers. This must have been a pretty special evening for you guys to perform at a WrestleMania for the first time. That is probably one of the best WrestleManias of all time as well. And a great match with the Quebecers. Tell me about your first WrestleMania experience.
Oh man, it was a long week because I think it was the first time they did WrestleMania Access. So it was a long week, a lot of personal appearances and all that stuff. But we had such a great following, man. We had such a great following, and we had a really good match worked out that we were going to present to the crowd. The sad part about it is when you perform at big events like that, everything is on time. Everything is based on time. You get, they tell you you've got 22 minutes, right? And when it's time to go, because the ladder match went over 15 minutes.
Right.
And the Bret Hart and the Owen Hart match went over time, everybody else's time gets slashed.
Yeah.
They didn't even have that 10-man tag match at the end at all on that show.
Yeah.
Okay, so everybody's time gets cut, So we were told we had 22 minutes. On the way out the curtain, they told us we had 12. So now we got to cut a 22-minute match down to a 12-minute match. And then while we're out there at about 7.5, they tell us to go home.
Fucking hell.
You want us to pull out a 5-star match in 8 minutes.
Yeah.
And try to get all 6 people involved in that over. You know what I mean? I think for the amount of time that they gave us, I think we were able to pull off, an entertaining match. You know what I mean? I think we were able to pull off an entertaining match. And then, politics have it. We win by DQ.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it. Nelson enjoyed it. The payoff was really nice, and it was my one and only WrestleMania that I participated in. But I can say I participated in WrestleMania at Madison Square Garden.
Huge. That's huge.
So I can't complain.
Absolutely.
I can't complain.
I've also read that you were injured in a match with Owen Hart on May 1st episode of Wrestling Challenge. What happened there, and what was the fallout from that?
That question is where the term urban legend comes from, right?
Right. Okay.
So this is what happened. So during the WrestleMania Revenge tour, right after the whole belt win and drop thing in England, we went on to Israel from there. So while in Israel, one of the nights in Israel, Nelson, Mabel, gets sick and is sent back to the hospital. To the hotel.
Yeah.
We're working the head shrinkers at the time. And the agent comes along and says, "Hey, Mo, you're gonna work Samu in a singles match because we sent Nelson back to the hotel because he fell out. He's sick." So I'm standing there, and me and Sammy having conversations about a match. Fatu is pacing the room. He's upset. He's pissed off because he's not working because Nelson had to go back to the hotel.
Yep.
Shawn Michaels comes out of the shower, hits me in the back as hard as he can, and I stop and I look at him, and I said, the operative word is "excuse me," and he looks at me and he goes, "Fuck that. Fuck excuse me." He says, "You young guys come over here, you don't have any work ethic, and you expect everything to be given to you." And I'm like, "Man, what are you talking about? I'm confused. You just assaulted me. Now you trying to tell me I don't work, and I get my ass beat 22 minutes a night every night, and I'm standing right here trying to work. I'm confused." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He was like, "I'm talking about your fat ass partner." And I was like, "What about him?" "Well, his fat ass don't do nothing anyway. He could have walked down to the ring and stood ringside and let you do the work like you do every night. And then everybody would be in the ring working, getting a payoff." So he's talking about we would have still had the tag match. And Nelson had just sucked up being sick and went to the ring, stood on the side, sick, and puke his guts out,
Right, yeah.
just so, okay. So I had that fallout with Shawn Michaels. I almost get into a fight with him. When I get back to the States, it's a King of the Ring, supposedly a King of the Ring qualifying match against Owen Hart. The goal is, okay, we're going to put Mo out for 6 weeks.
All right.
So go to the top rope, hit the guardrail, hurt my knee, can't continue. Owen comes out, throws me back into the ring, puts me in the sharpshooter to further injure the knee. I'm gone. So I'm off television for 9 months. I don't work any shows for 9 months, but I got to go to every single one.
Right.
And I don't get paid for working. So I get started for 9 months because I got assaulted.
Yeah.
Spoke up for myself. And this is what happens. So I get punished.
Oh, cruel.
So that's what it was. It wasn't, I didn't get injured. It was just political bullshit. Right? And the urban legend of it is I came up with this name because I was watching this video about the click, right? And at the end of the video, it said, the reason everybody was afraid of the click or didn't get what they want was because unlike the click, nobody would stand up for themselves. And I, in my infinite wisdom, said, bullshit. I stood up to fucking the leader of the clique. To me, at the time, was Shawn Michaels. And I stood up and I told that son bitch, if he puts his hands on me again, I'm going to beat the fuck out of him.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. I come back to the States. I get punished for 9 months.
Fuck, that's really cruel.
So that is the urban legend. The urban legend is I stood up to his ass because he assaulted me and I didn't deserve it and I got punished for it. And that stuck with me, man. It stuck with me, man. Even after I left there, because in that time period that I was suspended, I got so depressed that I attempted suicide.
Yeah.
So it stuck with me. It fucked with me for a long time, and I just recently got over it. I mean, I'm talking about within the last 3 or 4 years. This happened in '94.
Fuck.
So I just recently got over it. I realized I realized the message, the point that he was trying to. I realized what he was saying about, hey, if you can make it to the ring, go to the ring, do the work, whatever. I get that. I realized that point. It was his method of delivering the message, or trying to teach the young guys that message. It was his method. And, maybe if he had done it to somebody like a Candido or somebody like that would have just took that abuse. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, Sean did do a few things to Candido.
Well, yeah. Well, I was witness to that too, but and that was my point. My point is, he picked on the wrong person.
Yeah.
And I got punished for it because he picked on the wrong person. I stood up for myself, and I got punished for it. And still to this day, I feel like I'm getting punished because, I haven't been invited back for, any 25th anniversaries, 100 episodes of Raw, or none of that stuff. I've not been on an alumni page or none of that stuff on the website. I mean, there's people, man, that have literally sued the company. I've never said anything bad about the company. I've always had anything negative to say about that situation.
Yeah. All right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So, but if you look at the website, I'm not on the alumni page. I'm not on the Where Are They Now page. And dude, I've done nothing but community service work since I left that. Nothing but positive shit.
You think
and there's guys out there, man. Huh?
You think they'll be saying that they would want to promote?
Right. I've done nothing but positive shit, man. I mean, but I don't hope I'm over it now as far as that Shawn Michaels situation go, and I know he's always going to be, the company darling or whatever, and I'll probably never be anything other than who I am right now. Probably, never get recognized for anything, and that's fine. Like I said, I'm over that part of it, man. But I gave Vince McMahon 115% of everything that I had, man, every night. Every single night, bro. Every night. And there's a part of me, and I don't know what. I guess I'll hold this last part out and wait and see where this goes. But I just say we didn't get what we deserved as a team. As a team.
Yeah, I agree, bro. And I'm sorry to hear about all that.
That's all right.
I want let's turn things a little bit more positive. Owen Hart.
That's gonna be difficult.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Being in the same company as Owen Hart, I wanted to know if you had any stories of Owen Hart. We want to make a little compilation video of every guest that was somebody that knew Owen. Do you have any stories of maybe a rib that he pulled or any moment where Owen might have made you laugh?
My only I wasn't really privy to any of his ribs. Owen was a super nice guy, and we used to sit around and we used to talk. We used to mostly talk about his son Oj. How proud he was of his son, how much he loved Martha. I remember when I was going through the thing with Sean. He was the one person that would tell me, man, just hold your head up, man. You know what I mean? You're a good worker. You're a good guy. It'll blow over, whatever. The last conversation I had with Owen was a few months before he passed away. I had a wrestling school in Tennessee, and they came through Nashville. It was a house show, and this is what's weird about it is they would always, if they had a house show or something nearby, I could always call them up and say, "Hey, can I come bring a student and be in an opening dark match?" And they would always say, "Yeah." They would. It was so weird, you know. They wouldn't put me on the alumni page. I didn't get invited to none of this stuff, but they would always say yeah to that stuff, you know. Or even today, wanting tickets or something for an event, it's always, you know. So, like I said, I never said anything negative towards the company. Any negative comments I ever made was toward Sean. But this particular night, I went and worked one of my students in a dark match in Nashville. When I came out of the ring, Owen was standing there. He was like, "Man, you still got it." And I said, "Man, I ain't never going to lose it." He's like, "Bro," he was like, "Man, come up to Louisville tomorrow night." They was having a pay-per-view or something. He's like, "Come up to Louisville tomorrow night." And I was like, "What for?" He's like, "Man, come on up there, man. I'll talk to somebody. You need to be working." You know, and he invited me to come up, and I was like, my pride wouldn't let me.
Right.
My pride wouldn't let me. And then a few months later, he was gone.
Right.
You know, the one person that was always a friend and always, you know, tried to get me to try to go get that one last opportunity, and I didn't do it. You know what I mean? And a few months later, he was gone. And that's the one thing that I remember is that when I was at my worst and thought I was done, he assured me in the conversation that I was not, and I just needed to try, you know. And then I woke up and he was gone one day, you know. Yeah. So that is my memory. That is my memory. The ribs and stuff, I was never privy to, you know, ever seen him rib anybody or anything like that. I just knew that he was a super nice guy, and he opened my eyes up, and by the time I opened them, it was too late.
I understand.
You know what I mean? You know, it was too late. And so that is one thing that I'm always grateful for, that friendship. And to this day, me and Bret Hart are very close.
Cool.
His brother Bret, you know, the night the thing happened with Sean, Bret was the first person to pull me to the side and say, "Hey, you didn't do anything wrong, but you got to fix this." And I'm like, "Fix it?" He's like, "Yeah." He said, "You got to pull Sean to the side. You got to apologize. Tell him you didn't mean no disrespect." And I'm complex at this point, like, you know, I didn't do anything wrong, but I got where he was coming from, and I did it. I pulled him to the side, pulled him into the shower. I told him, "Hey, man, I apologize. I didn't mean no disrespect." And you know what his response was?
What?
"Fuck you. Fuck you." And walked out. So I tried, bro. I tried. And as much as you try to go to happier stuff, it always comes back to that moment. You know what I mean? So, but I miss Owen, man. I miss Owen.
I appreciate you telling the story of Owen. It really hit me in the feels. Really hit me right there. So I appreciate that.
Not a problem.
I wanted to talk about the heel turn of Men on a Mission, which led to Oscar leaving the WWF during a feud with the Smoking Guns. What did you think of Oscar ending up leaving and all this stuff, and the idea of the heel turn at first?
Okay, so this here gets into another one of those people tell one story, but they don't know the real story.
Okay, so I'm going to edit this Wikipedia article extensively, I think.
So this is a real story. So we were having a conversation earlier about the tag team thing, and you know, the smoking of the marijuana and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
So it's Royal Rumble 95. I think we're in Orlando, Florida. I've been suspended now. I've been off of television, not suspended, but off television 9 months. This is back to the bad stuff. This is how we got here.
Right.
Okay. So Nelson and I are sitting there in the hotel room, and we're like, "Man, screw this," because they're not doing it. I'm off television. They're not doing anything, and they got Nelson doing singles matches with people, and it's not going anywhere. You know. We were supposed we had a conversation with somebody in WCW, and we were going to leave. So we made up our decision. We were going to go to the building, talk to Vince, and tell him we were going to leave. And so at this time, Vince has got an open door policy.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you catch him and you say, "Hey, Vince, we'd like to talk," he would talk to you. And so we're sitting there, and Nelson's like, "Yeah, man, let's just do it, man. They're not doing anything. They got you off TV. You're not making any money. I'm starving. I'm not making any money, bro. I think my taxable income that year was $14,000.
Fuck.
I'm a WWE superstar, and my taxable income is $14,000. You know, so I'm starving." And so we sit there, and Nelson said, "You know what, man?" He's like, he said, "Smoke some of this with me." And I was like, "Man, you don't smoke weed." He's like, "Nah, man, come on, man. We're leaving anyway. It don't matter, you know." And I said, "Okay, what the heck, right?" So you smoke weed. And we get to the building, and the minute we walk into the building, there's a sign on the wall that says "drug test today." And we're like, "Oh crap. I guess we got to go through with this now." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if we take that drug test, we're done. Anyway, it would have been my first time anyway. I would have paid $1,000 fine, but it probably would have been like the 30th time for Nelson. You know? So we see Vince. We call Vince into his office, and we say, "You know, Vince, first thing we want to do is thank you for the opportunity. You know, we really appreciate everything that you've done for us to try to do, but we think we want to go and do something different." And Vince kind of leans back into his chair, and he goes, "Guys, is there any particular reason why you want to leave?" And Nelson's like, "Yeah, Vince, I mean, you're not doing anything with us. You got Mo sitting on the sideline for 9 months, probably because of the Shawn Michaels thing." And Vince is like, "What's Shawn Michaels thing?" See, you felt that too, didn't you?
Fucking hell, bullshit.
You felt that too, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
That's exactly how we reacted when he said that. Like, come on, you got to be kidding me, right? You're not gonna sit here, you know. And so we just kind of briefly explained. He's like, "Well, I didn't have no knowledge of that. I didn't know anything about it." You know what I mean?
Wow.
So Vince was like, "Well, you know," says, "you guys are still young. This is 95, so I haven't turned 28 yet. I haven't turned 28 yet. And Nelson still isn't old enough to drive a rental car.
Right.
I think I'm like 7 years older than him. So I'm 27. He's just turning 2021. And Vince is like, you guys are still young, still got your legs about you. He said, I don't want you guys to leave. He said, what can we do? And Nelson's like, the first thing we got to do is we got to get Mo back to working, And Vince was like, yeah, okay, that's no problem. Said, so how about this? How about tomorrow at TV, we flip you guys. We flip you guys heels tomorrow at TV and put you guys back together as a tag team. And then we put you guys against the Smoking Guns at WrestleMania 11 and put the tag belts on.
Okay, sounds promising.
That was the deal. Sounds pretty good. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay. That sounds good. That's enough for us to say, okay, we'll stay.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Everything's good. Leave there. Don't go take the test. Participate in the Rumble. Next night, we get to the building, and Vince is standing there, and he sees us, and he calls us. It was like, uh-oh, what's going on? So he calls us, sits down in the chair, and he said, guys, first let me apologize. He said, because I misspoke. He said, I know I told you guys that I wanted to do the turn and put y'all against Smoking Guns at WrestleMania 11. And he said, but I forgotten that I had promised Owen Hart a push when he came back from vacation. So this is when they put Owen with Yoko, and Owen and Yoko beat the Smoking Guns at WrestleMania 11.
Okay.
So we did the turn. We softened them up the week before when we beat them down and we beat Oscar down.
Yeah.
To go on to face Yoko and Owen.
Right.
In return, our deal was Nelson would win the King of the Ring.
Okay.
They would put me back on TV with Nelson. We do some tag stuff leading to that. And Yoko and Owen were supposed to go into a program with the Allied Powers.
Yeah.
Lex and Bulldog. Lex and Bulldog get the tag belts. Then later that year, we take the tag belts from Lex and Bulldog.
Right.
Now, we done set all this up. We done had the tag match with Lex and Bulldog. The week before it's supposed to air on television, Lex shows up at Nitro in Minnesota.
Really? Oh, my God. This is such a roller coaster.
Okay? So that angle is killed. So now what we have to do is to get out of that story, put Bulldog with me and Nelson, put Bulldog in a tag match with Kevin Nash against me and Nelson, and have Bulldog turn on Nash.
Right.
So thus tie Bulldog with us, killing the whole Men on a Mission Allied Powers thing. Squash that. So that tag team thing is not going to happen. But Nelson gets to run as the King of the Ring, and he gets the title match. So you'll hear other stories like Vince just threw something against the wall, and that's how Mabel ended up getting the King of the Ring run. That's not how it happened. That was part of that was a deal he made to keep us there, because of the other deal that he had to break to put Yoko and Owen together.
Right, because the story always is Vince had a hard on for big guys, and Mabel was going to be his next big guy. So that's
that's not what happened.
To keep you guys at the company.
Yeah, that's right. And the part about Oscar leaving was Oscar and Nelson never really got along, and because he came from a world outside of wrestling, Oscar didn't conform to the wrestling politics. You know what I mean? And so it caused problems. So when we made the turn, Vince said that Nelson said to Vince, it's like, look, I don't think Oscar's going to be safe. We turn heel because he likes to go off on his own. And we've already seen the Steiner brothers and so many of the other guys tape him to a urinal, beat him, cover him with shaving cream, all this abusive stuff to him. So we told Vince we didn't think we could protect him because he didn't listen to us. And so that's when the decision was made to jump Oscar too, to get us more heat, and then he could go off and do some other stuff if he wants to. So that's what happened to Oscar.
Okay, because I was reading, he didn't like the idea of you guys all turning heel, so he wanted to leave wrestling and the business because of that. Man, your Wikipedia article needs serious updating with everything that we're covering here tonight, or today, your time.
Yeah, it's so false, man. Everybody seems to have an opinion on something, and they don't know that they know what they see, but they don't know the backstory. They don't know the behind the door dealings, and they don't get the full story. And I'm not, like I said, the only thing here that I'm glazing over is the excessive marijuana use. But everything else, and when I say that is, I don't want anybody to think that I'm trying to bury my partner, but everybody used marijuana. It was just a thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that was just one of the things. I'm not saying that my situation with Shawn Michaels didn't affect anything. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that was a situation that was totally out of my control. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you ask me something about what happened with Men on a Mission, I'm gonna tell you. I'm not gonna glaze over. I'm not gonna try to make it sound like we were the greatest thing since sliced bread, or man. The proof is in the pudding. Look at the debut match. Look at just look at all the stuff that we did, and say to yourself, if we were allowed to slide down the top of the building by a steel cable, or we got Goldberg pyro, or all the extra stuff, where would we be?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, imagine Jeff Hardy, right? He's a hell of an athlete. I'm not this is not a knock of Jeff. I'm just saying, take away that music is beautiful. His music, take away the glitter and the power, the extra pyro and all that stuff. You take away some of that stuff from a lot of guys, man. And what do you got? You still gonna have something special in Jeff and Matt. I'm not knocking them. I'm just talking about all the extra stuff that people get.
Presentation, yeah.
Yeah, that we didn't get. You know what I mean? We got the rap part. You know what I'm saying? I'll give you an example. You remember Aldo Montoya?
Yes.
The Man of War?
Yes.
When he debuted?
Yeah.
He had the spinning pyro things.
Yeah.
His presentation, he had the spinning pyro thing. All we had was music and three guys coming down to the ring dancing, and Oscar with a microphone. Turn the lights down, give us some flashing lights, and like we got at WrestleMania. You know what I mean? Do that every night.
Absolutely.
Make the presentation that every night. Don't just make us out to be three fat ass guys that they have no talent and a horrible rapper. But the gimmick was so horrible, right? How many gimmicks are on the program right now that's very fucking similar?
I agree. Yeah.
Too Cool.
Yeah.
Initially, when they first started, everybody thought that New Day was just another Man on the Mission gimmick.
Absolutely.
You know,
Totally see the comparison there.
right? Look at the Street Profits.
Yeah.
Everybody's coming out of rap music now.
And you guys were the first.
So don't say we were trendsetters. Don't say we weren't trendsetters, right?
Absolutely.
But what do we get? 3 fat ass guys that had a horrible gimmick that was just fucking stupid. That is how people describe,
Well, fuck those people. Fuck them. Like,
You know what I
honestly,
mean?
like, you guys were tremendous at what you did. And earlier today, I watched the WrestleMania 10 rap that you guys did, and I thought it was absolutely entertaining.
And so it just, man, how funny was that Survivor Series match, man?
With the doink.
Yeah. and bro, here's what's funny about it. We didn't even know we was in Survivor Series. We show up at the building and they say, go to makeup. And we go to makeup and they paint us up like clowns and say, okay, you guys are going to go do this match. The fuck? But we got to make it entertaining.
And you guys had to wear clown faces.
Who else? Did we frown? No. We just went out there and had fun with it, man. With the Bushwhackers. You know what I mean? It would probably go down in history as one of the funniest, dumbest, clownest, gimmickiest. The only thing worse than that match in the history of WWE probably would be the gobbledygooker. Coming out of the fucking egg or whatever.
Poor Hector.
You know what I mean? Or yeah. But but we did, but we get no respect for it, man. We get no respect for it, and all I hear is people negative. Nelson hurt this person. Nelson hurt that person. Yeah, Nelson made mistakes.
Yeah.
Yeah, people got hurt.
Mistakes happen. It's people not ballet.
People get hurt now.
Yep.
You know what I mean? People get hurt now. I mean, how many people have been hurt at the hands of Nia Jax?
Several.
But
I don't think she
doesn't get. And she doesn't get buried. I'm not burying her because I like her.
She doesn't get vilified like Nelson did.
Right. I like her.
The fans actually kind of vilify her quite a lot, but the company don't seem to punish her the way that they did to Nelson.
Right. So I don't know, bro. I just, I
want to ask you about the King of the Ring and the moment that he won. And I mean, I know a lot of shit's gone down during this time period, but
yeah. Do
you guys celebrate afterward? Mabel's now getting this push. You're back on television. Your heels. Are you excited about this, or is there still this underlying thing going on?
Bro, it is. It is. Let's just get through this.
Oh, right. Okay.
You know what I mean?
You didn't think this was going to actually lead to something really meaningful. You thought, let's just get through this, and when it's done, let's get out of here.
I want to say about the month before SummerSlam. About the month before SummerSlam.
Yeah.
So they've Bill Watts is booking. I don't
Yep.
know if you know who Bill Watts is.
I do. Yeah.
Bill Watts is booking. So we're in somewhere in Michigan. Somewhere in Michigan. I don't even remember. But we're somewhere in Michigan, and we get to the venue, and they want to talk about what we're going to do at this TV taping. And we're going into this meeting, and as I'm walking in the door, Bill Watts tells me to stay outside. Said he's like, you don't have to be a part of this. You're expendable anyway, like that.
Really?
And I want to say, you cocksucker. You know what I mean? Like, dude, you know how hard I work. That was my first thought, but I just blew it off, and I went to JJ, and JJ was like, that was so unprofessional. You really need to tell Vince about that. I never told Vince about it. I just let it go. In my mind, I wrote Bill Watts, cocksucker. I always remember that in my mind.
Yeah. And he didn't last much longer anyway. So.
Yeah. And but anyway, so when they was coming up with finish, and in my mind, I thought Nelson should have beat Kevin Nash.
And have him chase.
Right? Yes.
Because
I think it would have made Kevin stronger. But Watts was like, no, Kevin needs to slay a dragon. No, Kevin needs to slay a dragon that
after
has
the dragon
something.
beat him, after the dragon beat him,
Right.
behind the guy, because no one wants to see a guy always save the girl from the train tracks all the time. He has to fight back from something. He can't just win all the time. That's why it gets boring with babyface champions.
Right.
That's why business is shit.
But that's what Watts said. Watts is like, he got to slay a dragon. I'm like, okay, when the dragon slays somebody that was really important, then you need to slay the dragon. When the dragon flies over the town and fucking burns up all the little kitties that's playing out in the fields with the sheep, now we got to figure out a way to kill the fucking dragon. The dragon hasn't killed anybody yet.
The dragon needs to kill someone in order to beat the dragon.
Right. He hasn't killed anybody. Right?
Savio Vega 1 month into the company. That's who he beat.
Right.
Nothing against Savio Vega, but he'd only been there a month or so. Like,
but who was he? Right?
Yeah.
And Sean and whomever got DQ'd, so
yeah, of course. So he didn't have to put over Mabel. Yeah, of course.
Right, but I mean, Mark got beat, but who helped?
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
So he didn't just beat Mark. He beat him, but he had help.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? So here's this dragon, and all he's done is squash people along the way. And the only person that he beat of any significance was in a tag match, me and him against Scott Hall and Savio Vega. He pinned Scott Hall.
All right.
Where's the beef at that he fucking killed for the champion to have to kill him?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it have meant more if he'd won the title, Kevin beat him, then he went into that program against Undertaker leading into the coffin match?
Yeah.
Than to get beat at SummerSlam and then coldly go into a program against Undertaker that ends in a coffin match.
At that point, it doesn't mean as much. So when Undertaker beats him, that doesn't mean as much.
It didn't mean shit.
Business is not being done, is it?
It didn't mean shit. Kevin Nash beat him with a fucking forearm out the second rope. You think Undertaker big boot fall into a damn coffin? was a draw? Was a big thing? No. I'm pretty sure Mark would have wanted something special, something more meaningful to do.
Yeah.
You know. But
So post this
anyway, Mark.
feud with Undertaker. Did you both give you notice?
No.
Okay.
No.
What led you guys to leaving the WWF?
Post is after?
Yeah, post after. Yeah.
That's after. No, we just quit. So here's what happened. If that's what this final question is about
you guys.
leaving.
Yeah.
Okay. So it was Royal Rumble 96. And we already know that if we don't give our notice in January, our contract rolls over in June. We don't give our notice in January that it's going to roll over. And we're going to be stuck there for another year.
Right.
I don't think at this time we're thinking leaving. I don't think at this time we're thinking leaving. Right now we're just kind of in this day. We just got beat in the coffin match, and then the very next night after the coffin match, we come out on Raw and Kevin Nash beats Nelson again in 4 seconds.
Ouch. Yeah.
Yeah, 4 seconds. Beats Nelson in 4 seconds. Power bombs me, and we're out. And that's where they turn him back into the monster.
Right.
Because I think he's lost the belt at this point.
Yeah.
He done lost the belt at this point. So it's a Royal Rumble 96, and there's a spot in there. I can't find it, but you might go in there and find it. There's a spot in there where Nelson splashes Henry Godwin somewhere close to the ropes.
Yeah.
When we get back to the dressing room, I'm in one dressing room. There's this big commotion going on in the other dressing room. And I walk in there, and Nelson and the Undertaker nose to nose. And the Undertaker's going off, telling them, you 500 pounds. You can't just be dropping all that fucking weight on people and blah, 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 blah. J.J. Dillon comes in, separates them, tells me and Nelson to go into the other dressing room. So we go in the other dressing room, and Nelson's like, yo, man, screw this shit, man. Let's go. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, let's go home. I'm like, you sure? He's like, yeah, man. Screw this, man. Because, they're just giving him a hell, bro. Here's a young kid. He's trying to work, instead of somebody sitting down and say, look, man, you guys have a lot of potential, but Nelson, we really need to work on, how you splash people, or, you know what I mean? Or don't do that move. For you, it's dangerous. Don't do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You don't need to do that. You're safer doing a leg drop than you are doing a splash on somebody.
Yeah.
Because a leg drop, you can pin your leg, and you've not hurt anybody doing a leg drop, period.
Yeah.
But instead, he almost get into a fight with the top guy, The Undertaker. How do you come back from that, bro?
You don't.
I mean, think about it. You think about it. Think about. You don't. You don't come back from that.
In front of the boys, it's.
You don't.
Yeah.
You don't. You're. So we go home. We're in San Jose. We drive to LA. We catch a red eye home to Nashville, Tennessee. We get home. Next day, phone rings. It's J.J. Dillon. Wants to know where we are. We told him we came home. He's like, man, what about TV? It's like, man, we think it's time we just leave, man. You just tell Vince we want our release. And JJ was like, okay. It's like, I'll call you back. So he gets on the phone. A few hours later, he calls us back. He said, Vince says, okay, just put it in writing, get it notarized, and send it to the office.
Yeah.
So we type it up, get it notarized, send it certified mail to the office. A few weeks later, we get our release. Of course, you know, it's got the non-compete clause with it, so we can't do anything until June the 12th.
Yep.
And we forfeit 5 months pay.
Ugh.
That's due to us.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
Including that last Royal Rumble check.
That's not fair.
So
still work the show.
You know, so that's what happened. We quit, bro.
Right.
We didn't get fired. We walked out and we quit. Because it was too much, man.
And from there,
It's
you go back to the USWA and
so from there, we go back to USWA and they want us to work each other.
So that's when you join the inaugural version of the Nation of Domination with PG-13 and Farouk and a whole bunch of guys down there.
Tracy Smothers, yeah. That's where that started.
Right.
That's where that started.
How did you feel?
So that's how that began.
How did you feel about working that angle against him? You know, after all this time.
I think that it was good. It could have been good because we loved and we trusted each other. And we in our matches that we did have, we done some really good stuff together. But they only allowed us to do 1 or 2 matches.
Right.
And then they killed it.
Why is that?
You see.
I mean, this is a pretty long journey tag team that you would think would be a big angle.
And then they just killed it, man. And so USWA had this one town called Cookeville, Tennessee that they did on Sunday afternoon. So I moved to that town, and USWA was shutting down their TV in that area. So I moved to that town, got with the TV station there, and I started a school, and I did my own television show there in that town. It's called Southern Extreme Wrestling.
Yeah.
So and basically that's all I've done, man, since I left there in '96, was train people and do my own thing. I would have liked to have gotten invited back to some of those shows. I would like to be on the alumni page. I would like to have a story, you know, on the website, you know, where are they now? Yeah. Sure, I would like that, you know what I mean? But if they don't feel like my body of work was deserving of that, then I'm fine not being there.
Well, I think they have people that are in those sections that did a lot less. So,
you know, and like, I find it appalling that somebody like Medusa can quit your company, drop a belt in the trash can, you know, on national television,
and then go on
and make it to the Hall of Fame, and get all these second, third chances. Somebody like Sable can sue you for $10 million. You settle out of court and can come back and work, you know, and other things. But here's a guy that came up there, gave 115% of himself every single night. Never got in trouble with the company. Never did anything outside of the company to embarrass the company. You know what I'm saying? Never said anything negative about the company, but can't even get a mention on the alumni page. Vince McMahon has no clue that after Royal Rumble 95, we went home. 4 days later, we went home, and we were in my backyard teaching the kid how to take a bump on one of our rings. And I broke my leg. I had like a 9-hour surgery, a rod and 9 screws placed in that leg. This is January, mind you. Well, actually, it's March the 1st. And WrestleMania 11, go back and check the date, 1995. Check the date of when WrestleMania 11 was, right? I had my surgery March the 1st, 1995.
And the date of WrestleMania 11 was the 2nd of April, 1995.
WrestleMania 11,
Yeah,
I was there. April, the day after, which was Monday Night Raw, there was a TV taping. I was there. The day after that, there was a Superstars taping. I worked that taping with a broke fucking leg. I ate after March the 1st of breaking my leg with a rod and 9 screws in that leg. I never missed a day. Even with a broken leg, I went to work.
That's 1 month later.
I went to work, bro.
Yeah.
I went to work. I went to work.
I want to ask you about the Nation of Domination. How do you feel it gets brought to TV in the WWF? We kind of hopeful that you would also be along for the journey. I know PG-13 came along. I know a few others that were in that USWA version came along.
You know, I was hoping, but you know, there again, it goes back to that whole.
It's the same thing again.
Yeah, that I felt like that was, you know, that was it. You know, once that happened, and then I would say that I didn't help matters by talking about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
But truthfully, man, you shouldn't get punished. You shouldn't get punished for speaking about being mistreated.
For such a long time as well, you know, it seems a little bit overzealous that that went that far with it. I mean, what's wrong with some people?
It happened in 1994.
And still getting punished for it till today.
It's 1994. No fucking alumni page. No, where are they now? No, nothing. Nothing, bro.
Was WCW ever on the cards after this point in time? Did you ever try and contact?
Okay, so let me tell you this. So when we left in 96, the plan was to go to WCW. There was conversations about going to WCW. But we couldn't show up there before June the 12th, 1996.
Yeah.
Right? So when you get a chance, go back and look at when the debut of Scott Hall and Kevin Nash was a Monday Night Nitro in 1996.
Okay.
Because that's when the conversations changed.
So they signed these guys. You guys were having conversations to join, and do you feel like they stopped you from coming along?
All I know is what happened was the day our contract expired, we called up and we're told it's not that we're not interested, it's not right now.
Right.
We're not interested right now.
But they're signing everyone else under the sun at the time, though.
So I think that Scott Hall and Kevin Nash arrived sometime around when our contracts expired. I may be wrong. I may be totally wrong about that.
It sounds right, though.
I think I may be totally wrong about that, but from my recollection, it was somewhere close.
So you spent a lot of time on the independent circuit during this time. I know you worked a final match with Nelson in Memphis in 2003, I believe.
Yeah. I when I left there, honestly, man, I didn't work. I worked one indie company in New York. I think that was NEW in New York. I worked for Brian something in New York. I worked 2 matches against I think Bam Bam, or it was no. I think I took Bam Bam's spot and I worked 2 matches against Doink the Clown.
Yeah.
And then I think I worked. I probably, in the time that I've been away, I probably worked maybe 5 or 6 indie shows. And then the rest of it's been me training people and running my own shows.
Okay.
Yeah, so I didn't do a whole lot of indie stuff. Like Nelson and I was supposed to go to Puerto Rico together. Started in December of '95, but I didn't go. And he made some trips to Japan, but I didn't go. At this point, man, I didn't trust working for anybody else. I just wanted to do my own thing so I could have a clear head about what I'm doing, and I don't have to worry about the politics and the bull crap, you know. So yeah, at this point, so for the last 4 years, me and my girlfriends run this company here in Dallas, Texas, called Soar Championship Wrestling. And then we got Bumps and Bruises Pro Wrestling Academy. We got 2 schools, one here in Texas and one in Arkansas. So I'm okay. That's not to say that I still don't feel bad about, you know, not being on the alumni page or anything like that. I just feel like I don't get the respect that's due me.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
Well, you get that respect from me in the most isolated city in the world, Perth, Western Australia. You have that respect from me. I hope you know that.
I appreciate it, man. I was talking to somebody.
Yeah.
I was talking to somebody about doing a school over there.
Yeah.
In Australia. Before the COVID hits.
Right.
Yeah, let's see. I was trying to see. Yeah, I was just trying to look up that date.
Okay.
But you'll find it. But I guarantee it's somewhere close to June the 12th, 1996. Somewhere in that area. when they showed up, because once they showed up, that put the kibosh on me and Nelson going.
Right. So tell me about the final match that you had. It was I think it was 2006 maybe, or was it intended to be a retirement match?
You know what? I don't remember. Well, no, because my last actual wrestling match, the last time I was actually in the ring, was March of this year.
Of this year, really? Okay.
Yeah, I went and did a 6-man tag in Florida for CCW. Okay. Yeah, it was March of this year. It was March of this year. Prior to that, I tagged with my new tag team partner in February. Yeah. So what slowed me down in 2010, I got diagnosed with kidney failure.
Yeah.
So I went on dialysis in 2010. So I do dialysis 3 days a week, and then I'd go wrestle on the weekend.
Right.
So in March of 2018, I got a transplant.
Yeah.
So I went from March 2018 until February of 2020, and I didn't wrestle at all. But then February, a month from my 2-year anniversary, I had that tag match, and the month of my 2-year anniversary, I went to Florida and I had that 6-man match.
Right.
So that was this year.
Oh, cool. So
that
you haven't had your last match yet?
No, because unless I get a substitute and just don't feel like it, I'm going to wrestle again December the 12th in Memphis, Tennessee.
Awesome.
You know,
awesome.
You know, so I ain't hung them up yet. Not quite yet.
What would be your ideal situation to hang it up? What would be the best final match you could have?
Well, you know, with Nelson not being here, I don't really know. With Nelson not being here, I haven't really thought about it.
Yeah.
But Denise, wait a minute. Yeah, could you do me a favor? I have not taken my medication this morning, and my arm is swelling. Anyway,
where is it?
It should be back there. I guess one of my students is going to become the champion of my company.
Yep.
Next month. I think maybe do a last match with him sometime next year, and then I'll be done.
Fair enough.
I always try to work them and give them a shot of being in the ring with me before I sit them out.
Yeah.
To go conquer the world. So that's about it.
Okay. To all your fans, the Men on a Mission fans, the Harlem Knight fans, what do you hope your legacy is to them?
So here's what our fans should know. That we strive to be one of the best big men tag teams ever in this business. And because we both came from backgrounds of poverty, we want everybody of every race to know, especially kids, young kids, to know that there's not a situation in the world that you can't overcome and beat, because we've gone through them all. We've we've gone through all the adversities. You know what I mean? All you have to do is keep your wits about you, stay calm, be patient, and think everything through. Think it from the beginning to the middle to what the possible outcome can be before you make a decision about where you want to go with each situation. You know, some things are just going to be out of your control, and those things that are out of your control, you can't worry about. You only worry about those things that you can't control. I can't control what Shawn Michaels did no more than I control how he thinks or how the business thinks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All I can do is control how I live now.
Yeah.
You know, and right now, my goal is to save 1 million children, and that's what I've been working on. That's what I've been doing for the last 10 or 12 years, trying to save children. So that's what I want to be remembered for. Hey, the guy was a wrestler. He was a nice guy, whatever, but he loved children.
Good, man. Good. Before I get to a segment called 5 Second Frenzy, where we just get to learn a little bit more about you, Mo.
Uh-huh.
I just want you to have the chance to plug anything and everything that you're doing, your school, your promotion, what's going on in your world.
Well, let me tell you. So I am a owner in 3 separate promotions. The main one is Sword Championship Wrestling here in Dallas, Texas, along with Denise Jones. She's a Marine. We've had this promotion for 4 years. Just started another promotion with my friend Jason Maldonado in Forest City, Arkansas. It's called Chaotic Kingdom Wrestling. And I'm reviving a promotion that started.
Hey guys, so that was our exclusive interview with the one and only Mo from Men on a Mission. Unfortunately, at that point in time, Mo's power cut out and it was out for the rest of the night. And we only had about 5 minutes to go for the interview. I don't want to bother him about getting those last 5 minutes done. So I figured it's a good point at this point in time to just wrap it up there. And I want to thank Mo for his time on the show. And I hope Mo is proud of everything he accomplished in wrestling, despite how he may feel about how things went for him and Nelson during their time in the WWE and what happened with him in his career afterward. So again, thank you to Mo. And I want to thank everyone out there for watching the WZWA Network and listening to the WZWA Network on all the podcasting platforms out there. And we will see you guys next time. Thank you.